All right, welcome to module number 14, where we will be going over how to customize your theme. So the page builder that we see, that we went through kind of briefly in the last module, really creates the content on each page. However, we can set default settings for all of those modules and things like that. And so the default settings would be things like fonts, colors, layouts, different styling options, things like that. And so we want to set those default settings so that they are the same on all of the pages. So to begin, you can go ahead and head up here to Theme Customizer. Go ahead and click that. And that is going to take us to our customizer. Okay, and so here you'll see a number of different options here for customizing your theme. So down here you can, well, first of all, you can hide the controls just by doing that. You can also view what it would look like on desktop, what it would look like on mobile, and what it would look, tablet, and what it would look like on the phone. All right. So to begin, I usually start with general settings. And here we have our site identity. You can go in and modify the site title, the tagline, and you can add your icon here. Layout settings. Now this is, you can enable a boxed layout. You can see right here it added a sort of box around the content of the page. I always go with full width because I think that's generally the most popular. You can customize your content width by dragging that in. As you can see, my browser window is already pretty large. So it's not going to show it too much, but I'm going to switch that back to 1080. And a website gutter width. So essentially the gutter width is sort of the spacing in between all of the modules and the rows and the sections and things like that. And so you can see how that changes slightly as we modify that. I wouldn't worry about these settings generally, same with these down here. Those things are not necessarily things you're going to need. So you might want to change your theme accent color. This is going to be the color that that shows up in various parts of your site. Okay, and then when we head back, we're going to go to typography, and we'll see here we can actually customize our fonts and the colors and the text sizes and things like that. So to begin, let's start with some text, some body text. So these are generally paragraph text, any sort of long written articles, things like that. You can customize those here. You can see that changing. Body line height, obviously that's going to change the line height. Now sometimes if you don't see these changing, if you already have a pre-made layout installed onto the page, these already have, within the module, the settings of those modules, they already have a line height specifically set. So if you try to change these and they don't change, that's probably why. Same with any of the other settings. If you're seeing that when you're editing something here and it's not editing here, it means that the setting within that module is overriding what the default settings are. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. You can always go into each of the modules and customize those styles specifically for that module. So header text size, you can see that's going to change, the header text sizes there. There, and header line height. That will also do the same thing, but as you can see, those are most likely already set in the modules. Maybe I want to bold it. Again, these are most likely set. It looks like these are sort of lighter fonts that are specifically set in this theme, in this layout. So most likely that's not going to change. All right, and we can see if we add italics, it changes those. If we want to make them all caps, it'll do that. And if we want, we can underline, things like that. So the next thing is header fonts. So these may not change because this layout already specified fonts within that layout. So these may not change. However, I will show you what you can do to customize these. So you can't actually see a preview of all of these fonts here. These are all Google fonts, and in order to actually see what they look like, you're going to want to open up a new tab and go to google.com/fonts, and that will take us to the Google Fonts website. And here we can see all the different style fonts that are available for our website, and we can always customize, you know, the size, so we can see what they would look like if it was large text or if it was small text. We can always do that. Another thing you might want to consider doing is you can actually type something here and it will show up in the boxes below. I'm just making up some words here. And you can see that way you can really customize what your text looks like and just get a really nice preview of what it would look like on your site. A lot of times I would actually put in the name of my website. And that way you can kind of see what it would look like on your site. You can always also add different filters here. So let's say I wanted to grab a thicker font. I could always check that, and then you customize that. Say, okay, these are the different fonts that are, you know, specifically meant for thicker styles. You can do the same thing with slant. You want, you know, like a sort of a slanty in there as well. And another thing here are the styles of the fonts. So here we have serif. Serifs are essentially, you can see this is a serif font. It has little curly Q thingies, little things on the bottoms, and those are serifs. A sans serif is something like this. It doesn't have little lines underneath or little curly cues on the ends of the letters, things like that. They're very plain and simple. Display are going to be a little more, here, let me uncheck these other ones you can see. Display are generally more stylized fonts. Usually, you know, this one's sort of like a bloody one, I guess. This one has, you know, some little more boxy styles. See, this one looks a little more, what's the word there? Sort of retro, I guess. So you can see these are all display fonts. They're generally meant for titles and things like that. Handwriting, obviously, is going to be handwritten, more cursive, or script styles. And then we have monospace. So monospace is essentially each letter takes up the exact same space regardless of how wide or narrow it is. So I's, you know, are going to take up as much space as an S or a B. And so that's monospace. Generally, those are not used very often. Of course, you can use them if you like them. So that's really it. Once you've found a font that you like, serif, maybe I like this one, this DM serif text. So then I'm going to jump back over here and I am going to search for DM serif links if it's not there. Sometimes they're not all there. And if that's the case, then come back and pick a different one. I'm going to choose sans serif. And let's do Montserrat. I like that one. That's a really great one. It's very popular. So I'm going to jump down here and Montserrat. Okay, and like we said before, these won't change because they've already been preset. And I'm sure the same thing goes with the body. Actually, the body did change, so that's good. So we can see what that would look like with the body text. So if I want to come back, actually what I can do is copy this. And I'm going to paste it up here. Paste, and then we get to actually see a paragraph here. And let's say I want to use this font, this Source Sans Pro. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write down the S's. And there it is. And there we go. We can see what that looks like. Maybe I do want to change the body text size, maybe make that a little larger. And then you can also obviously go in here and change the text color too. So I might want to do that. Maybe I want to change the header colors to orange or blue or something. And then body link color, that will change the colors of all of the links. So we can choose that as well. And that's pretty much the settings for our typography. Next thing is background. You can certainly set a background color for the whole page, but that background color is actually set behind all of these sections and modules, and you'll have the option of setting specific background colors for each of those sections and modules and things like that. So I usually don't even worry about that. You can skip that. The next thing is the header and navigation. So the header and navigation is obviously this top navigation bar. And if we click on header format, we can see we have different style headers. So this is the default header where the logo is on the left side and the menu is on the right side. That's the default. We can go to centered and that'll change it where the logo is on top and the menu is underneath it in the center. A centered inline logo basically is a similar thing, except the logo goes inside, sort of in between the navigation menu. We also have another one called slide in, and it's very similar to the default, but instead of the navigation being right here, it's actually going to be off the screen on the right. And when you click that button there, that'll slide open and you can see the navigation menu there. Same thing with full screen, it's very similar. And when you click that, the menu will kind of overlay on top of the whole page. So there's a few different styles there. I generally go with the default or the centered or the inline logo, generally because I do want these menu items to be visible as much as possible. A lot of times if people don't see them on the page, they won't actually know how to access them, even though this is here. And it's pretty well known that that means menu. Some people may not know that. So I think it's generally best to keep it as one of these top three. But again, it's your website and you get to choose how you want to do it. The next one is the primary menu bar, and that basically is this top one here. And we can, currently it's set as kind of a default where the width of this menu is going to be the width of the content of the page. You'll see it kind of lines up with the content of the page as it goes down. It sort of lines up there. Same with this side here over here. It's kind of lining up. And regardless of how big or small you make, you'll see if I do that, it kind of sets it where there's a sort of margin on the outside of that menu. So if you choose full width, it'll kind of extend it out to the end of that. And you can also choose to hide the logo image. If you decide you don't want a logo up there, that's fine, you can do that. And I think I will keep the full width. You can choose to change the menu height, and that will obviously make it bigger or smaller. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, like 50 pixels, that's good. And then a logo max height. So this is actually a percentage here, 54%. If you put it up to 100%, it's gonna make it all the way, to the top and to the bottom. So I usually make it around 90 because I like it to be big, but I don't want it to be 100%. And then we have our text size. So our text size is gonna change the text of the actual menu there. So we can see that's changing. I'm gonna make it 16. And then obviously letter spacing will also modify kind of the width of those menu items as well. I'm gonna keep it 0. And then again, we can choose a font here. You can do it the same way, the same method. I'm gonna go back and choose that Montserrat because I do like that one as a heading, as titles there. So then we can choose obviously text color. Maybe I'll choose it black, make it nice and strong, and we can also bold it, italicize, make it caps, underline, things like that. We have an active link color. Obviously that's gonna be showing what an active link color is. The color of, if you're on the home page, let's say, the home link is gonna be this color, whatever is the active page. So I'm gonna change that to orange because I like that orange color there. And actually I'm gonna switch this to FF6629 because I know that that is the actual color of the logo, so it kind of matches that. And then we can choose a background color for our menu. Let's say we want it to be black, or if we want it to be blue, things like that. We can certainly do that. I chose a logo that has a white background, and so I'm gonna keep it white. Now, if you have a logo that's has a transparency to it, then obviously you can choose it whatever color you'd like, and that will kind of show through a little bit better. We have a drop-down menu background color. So actually I don't have any drop-down menus here, so I'm going to show you quickly how we can create that. Actually, I believe I showed you that already in the last module, but I'm going to go ahead and let's say I'm going to put the services underneath about. Now that's going to give us a drop-down menu here, and so we can go back and modify that now. Header navigation, primary menu bar, and let's see, we have our background color and our drop-down menu background color. So let's say we want to make the background of that dark. Obviously the text color isn't going to show very well with that color, so we need to modify that. Maybe we'll bring the opacity all the way down, and then we can, there we go, we see it, and you'll see it adds a little blue line there above there. Now that's just like a default setting for this theme. If you don't like it, a lot of times you can just make it the same color as the background menu color, and then it won't show up. Also, you can just make it completely transparent and it won't show up either. Okay, and then you also get the option of changing the animation. So right now we have it set to fade. You'll see it kind of fades in. You can also expand it, kind of expands from the top. A slide kind of slides over, and a flip sort of flips it around. So you can choose which one you like for that. I'm going to choose expand. And then we're going to move on to our secondary menu bar. So our secondary menu bar actually is not visible currently, and it is a menu bar that's kind of above here, and it adds some secondary options. It gives you a place to throw in an additional menu as well as some header elements. And so I'm going to quickly skip that because I need to actually add the header elements in there. So I'm going to choose a phone, put a phone number in there. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. That's a phone number, and I'm going to put johndoe@gmail.com in there. And it's not going to show immediately, so a lot of times you can just click the logo and it'll kind of refresh the page there. And there you'll see we now have a little icon and of our phone number and email there. And if we want to, we can also show our social icons. Click to refresh the page, and you'll see we have some icons there as well. Now, let me jump back real quick to our menus, and I'm going to create a new menu, because let's say I want to put a menu in the secondary menu bar. So we'll choose secondary, we'll place it in the secondary menu. Next. And now I want to add a couple items here, so I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just add some of these same links here. Usually, you know, you can add different items there, such as my account or login links or things like that. But I'm just going to go ahead and keep it that way. And you'll see now we have a secondary menu up at the top here. So it's just another way to kind of customize your theme with some additional menu options at the top. So let me jump back over here again. We'll do the secondary menu bar, and now we can customize this as well. So maybe I'll make that black. And then let's see what else. We have text color, we have drop-down menu background color. So if these have drop-down menus as well, which we can certainly set, I'm not going to this time around, because it's the same way as doing it this way. You can also customize that background color and the menu text color and things like that. Obviously the menu animation. And we can also do fonts, so maybe I'll go back and change this as well to Montserrat. There it is. Okay, and maybe I'll make those bold, and maybe I'll just make them a little bit larger so they stand out. Okay, and I want to also make this full width so that it matches the menu underneath it. So there you go. And we also have another option of customizing how the website looks with a fixed navigation. So if you don't want a fixed navigation, what we can do is head back over to our theme options. So I'm actually going to just copy this part right here and open that up in a new tab, and that will bring us to our dashboard here. And from here, we're going to go to Divi Theme Options. And if you don't want the navigation bar to be fixed, which means it sticks to the top of the page when we scroll, you see it does that. If you don't want it to do that, go ahead and uncheck that and then hit Save. And that will change it so that it scrolls with the page, just like that. I always like to keep it because it keeps the pages visible, the menu bar visible, so people can easily navigate to different parts of the page. So I will keep that there, and now we can customize now what the fixed navigation bar looks like when you're scrolling the page. So there's a few, so obviously when you start modifying this, if you're scrolled all the way up to the very top of the page, you're not actually going to see any changes because the menu bar is not fixed. So go ahead and just scroll down a little bit, and you'll see when you do that, this menu bar sort of changes size, and that is because this fixed menu height is down to 40 when I originally had it set to 50. So you can see if I set this to 50, sometimes that scroller doesn't work very well, you'll see it doesn't actually change the menu height at all. Obviously, same with text size, that changes as I'm scrolling because the fixed navigation settings is at 14 when the original menu is at 16. So if I change that to 16, you'll see that there is no change with that top menu. So a lot of times what you do want to do is make it a little bit smaller so that more of the content of the page is visible while still making the menu accessible for the viewers. So you can also, again, you can customize the color. So let's say I wanted to change color as it scrolls. You can do that. And we'll change the primary menu link to white so that you can see them. And maybe the link color, we can change it to that. And we want the active primary link color to also be that color. You see how that changes. Okay, and that's it. That's how we can customize the fixed navigation settings. So I am going to go back over to our footer now. So now if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see we have a footer here that has kind of like credits, and we have some social icon links over here as well. So if we go into footer, we can customize the layout. So this specific part here is actually this little lighter gray area. This is where we can actually customize and place some widgets down here. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now so we can show you how to customize that as well. So go back over to widgets, and we have a bunch of different footer areas. So I'm going to, let me go jump back over to here. Footer, layout. You can see we have a few different options for layouts. So we can choose a single column, we can choose a single column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, or we also have a whole bunch of others. Obviously, if you scroll, you can see there's a variety of different layouts for that footer. So I'm going to show us 3 columns here. And so when we go back over to our widgets area, we have a bunch of different footer areas. The first 3, because I chose 3 columns, that's how we're going to place widgets in those columns. So we're going to choose add a widget, and here we can, let's say we want to maybe let's add a navigation menu. One of these at the top, we can throw those in at the bottom as well. So I'll choose the primary one. And there we'll see we have a menu down here. And so that's 1. And for footer area 2, let's say we want to put in an image. We'll add an image. Let's throw in this one. That's fine. Obviously, you can choose a different image as you would like. And we'll jump back over, and footer area number 3. Let's see. Let's add some recent posts. So maybe we have some blog posts or something we can add in there. We only have one. It's the default one that comes when WordPress is installed. So it's just called Hello World. But obviously, if you have more blog posts, those will be listed there. Okay, so that's a really simple way of showing you how to add some elements to your footer. And now we can go back to our footer, and now we can modify it. So we can see that the footer background color, we can maybe want to change that to match the color of our logo. There we go. And some of that text is not standing out very well, so we can go in and change that. So in the widgets, these are all the widgets here. Let's say I want to change that widget header color to black. And I also want to change the widget text color to black. And I want to change the links to black, so that way we can see them very well. And let's see what else. We can change the header text size. We'll see that one's changing over there. Body sizes, that's going to change as well. 16. And same with the line heights, that can change too. We'll change them to bold. And we can change our bullet color as well. So if you don't want a bullet there, if you don't like those bullets there, certainly you can change them. Or you can just make them totally transparent and they'll technically still be there, but you won't have to see them. So I actually do like them. I'm gonna make them black, that they kind of match the text there. And that's that. Maybe I'll change that as well. Okay. And now we have our footer elements. So our footer elements are basically down here. We get to choose whether we want to show those social icons or not. And again, to customize those, you go back over to theme options. And down here, you'll have the option of customizing or deciding whether or not you want to enable these options. I actually don't like to enable the RSS icon. I think that's kind of a weird icon. Most people would not really click on that. Unless you're a blogger, most people don't even know what that is. So don't even worry about it. And then here you will place the link to your Facebook profile, Twitter, Google+, and Instagram profiles there. Click Save Changes. And we'll come back here, and if we click that, we can modify that. That RSS icon will go away. There we go. Now we just have our 4 options there. And obviously they're extremely hard to see, so I'm gonna go down to our bottom bar here, and we're gonna change the background color of that. Maybe let's make it black. And then we're gonna change our text color to white, and our social icon color also to white. And if we decide we don't like these footer credits, we can disable them and they will go away. Or we can customize and add our own. So we can do, let's add a copyright symbol, which you can do by, on Mac, it's a option G. Not exactly sure what it is on PC. It's probably Command G or Control G. And then we're gonna add in our year and any other credits you want to add in. Something like that, whatever you want to do. And we can obviously, again, we can change our font sizes. We can change our social icon sizes, make it a little bit smaller. And finally, we have an option to put in an actual menu. And the reason why we don't see it, I know we put a menu inside a widget, but I will show you how we can actually add a sort of bar above here that has a menu in it. So let's jump back and we're gonna add one more menu. We're gonna create a new menu called footer, and we're gonna place it in the footer menu. Click next. You're gonna add items to it, and let's just add maybe our contact, services, and blog. We'll just start with that, and we'll head back over, and we'll see right here we have our menu down here. And again, we want to customize the colors of that, so we're going to go in and customize the background color of that. Maybe we'll make it blue so it stands out. And our footer text color, obviously we want to change that so it stands out a little bit. And our footer menu active link color, let's make that white. So if we're on our contact page and things like that, it will show up. We will add a little bit of extra spacing. And our font size as well. Let's maybe make that a little bit larger, and maybe I want to make those bold and caps. Awesome. All right, so that is how we can customize our footer. Now we can choose to customize some buttons. Now it's a little bit different because now we installed a pre-made layout that already has some buttons already designed for us. So what I'm gonna do quickly, and I will show you how we can do this, is we're just gonna create a new page that has some kind of default settings on it. So to begin, let us hit publish here. And once that is complete, once that's complete, let's head back over to this tab. We are going to click on Pages. Let's open up our contact page. Okay. And we are going to use the Divi Builder for this. So again, go ahead and click that, and then we're going to hit Edit with the Divi Builder, and that will take us to the front end where we can now build from scratch, choose a pre-made layout, or we can clone an existing page. So I'm going to actually choose a pre-made layout here. And we'll scroll down to the bottom and we will find the same theme that we used for the home page there. Here it is. And let's add this contact page in here. Okay. So like I said, it's going to already have some specific styles already set. You can see that here. So for instance, I am going to, just for the purpose of adding a button, we were going to customize that. We'll click button. So this is actually what we have currently set as our default settings. So I am just going to leave that there because we want to customize that so that it is the same on all of the pages. As you can see, this button was customized specifically for this design, this layout, and same with this one down here. These are all customized already for this layout. But I just wanted to show you a default button there so we can go back and modify that in the customizer. So we'll jump back over to the customizer. We will hit the contact page and that will bring us back to that page. And now here we go. This is our button, default button. So now we can edit it. So button style, again, we can choose to change that text size. And again, we can choose our text color, our background color. Maybe I'll make it black. And I want the border width to also be a little bigger. Maybe I'll make it 10. Make it a really big one. And we want our border color to also be black so that it looks like a bigger button. And then we can also, maybe I want the buttons to be round. So I will change the border radius. There we go. And we have our letter spacing. Maybe I'll make it a little bigger. And I want those to be caps and bolded. And then I also want to change the button font. I'm going to choose that Montserrat again. There we go. And I want to add a button icon. If you choose no, it won't actually show up. It'll just kind of, obviously this is changing, and I'll show you how when we hover over it, I'll show you how we can modify that in a second. But you see there's no link there actually showing up, or there's no icon. But we can choose to actually choose it and make it show, and I want to use this arrow here as that icon, so when you hover over it, kind of similar to the other buttons on this page. Okay. And we want to choose our icon color to be white. And our text color I want to be white as well. Sometimes you have to go over it if it isn't already set. And we can also choose our icon placement on the right or the left side of the button. And we only want it to show when we hover over it. Or if we do that, it'll always just show. So that's another cool way we can add the icon. All right, so that's what it looks like there. Now we can choose what it looks like when we hover over it. So let's say we want you can see that it's kind of changed. So we want the actual border radius to be back to 50 so that it doesn't actually go square when we hover over it. And let's say we want the background color to be white. We hover over it, and we want the text color to be black. And then we want the border color to be black as well. And that'll give us like a sort of like a bordered sort of a ghost. I think that's sort of like a ghost theme, they call that. And then we can choose our letter spacing. Maybe we want that to be a little bit bigger so that it kind of expands. And I might want to actually go back, and I kind of don't want to show a button icon right now because I kind of want it to just expand like that. And sometimes that color kind of resets. We need to just change it again. There we go. That looks good. That's going to be our default button now that we have on all of our pages. And that will be what shows up when we choose a new button module and we place that on a page. And then of course you can override those options, those stylings, like these have been overridden as well. Okay, we'll hit publish, and we'll go back. And now our blog, we can customize. If we have a blog page, which I can show you what that looks like, we'll click on our blog post. And it's obviously, it's a very small post, small wording. We can choose, this is the meta. The meta text is kind of the information about the blog post. It's going to be who the author is, when it was published, what category it's in, and how many comments it has. So you can change that. You can change the line height for that as well, and some letter spacing. We can also choose to bold it or not, you know, all these other styles. And then we also have the header text size, so that's going to change the headers on the specific page as well, and the line height and letter spacing, and the font style. All right, so that is a blog post. Mobile style, so this is going to be modifying how, you know, how it looks on mobile devices, and really we're just modifying the section height, the row height, body text size, and the header text size. So as you can see, that header is kind of large, so we might actually want to make it a little smaller on mobile devices. And I'll do the same thing with our header. Looks like it's a little small. We might want to actually make it a little bigger. Okay. And we also get to choose our mobile menu. This is our mobile menu here, obviously. And we can choose, this is what it looks like when it opens up. We can choose our text color to maybe be white, and our background color to be black. And it also is going to modify the header also. So you can obviously choose what you want for that. I'm actually going to keep it the way it was. And you can also choose to hide the logo image if you'd like. Color schemes. You know what? Don't even worry about this. I'm actually not sure why that's there. I've never used it because I always choose my own color schemes, so don't even worry about it. We know what menus is. Widgets. We have our sidebar here. This is on our post page. We have a sidebar of a bunch of different widgets, and you can customize them here. You can also remove them, such as we'll remove the categories, we'll remove the meta, and you can always go in and add more widgets as well. So let's say I want to add just some text. And let me add in that paragraph that we had. You'll see, there we go. We have a little bit of content there. And that is our sidebar. And then we have our homepage settings. We've already set this to be our home, and we have a post page, so don't worry about that. And then if you want to customize your site even further and you know some custom CSS, this is where you can add that so that it will override any of the settings, any of the code on the site. Now this is also the same box as, let me exit out of here, and we're going to go to our dashboard, then we're going to go to Divi Theme Options. When we scroll down to the bottom, we have a custom CSS box. That's the same exact box. So this, whatever you put in here, will eventually show up down here, and same with whatever you put down here will show up here. Just make sure that when you're editing, don't have both of these open at the same time and be publishing here and then saving these changes, because if I add something here and hit save changes and then I come over here without refreshing the page, whatever I added won't show up down here, and if I hit publish, then I will have lost what I added over here. So just be aware of that. Alright, that is your theme customizer, and that's how we set our default settings for our website. And now we can move on to the next module, which is adding a couple other plugins to help us as we design our site. And I'll show you that in module number 15.